everyone, and welcome back. We're diving into something seriously cool today for all you game devs out there, or really anyone who loves amazing graphics and games.
Yeah, this is a big one.
We're talking MegaLights. It's a new feature coming in Unreal Engine 5.5, and we're breaking down why it's such a big deal.
It's a potential game changer.
Absolutely. And to do that, we're going to be using some excerpts from that Unreal Engine 5.5 live stream.
Lots of juicy details in there.
So, okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's set the scene a little. We're talking about light sources in video games, right? Like every time you see a torch or a lamppost or a street light, those are all light sources. And traditionally, game developers have had to be pretty limited with how many of those they can have active at once.
Yeah, you see it all the time, right? You're playing a game and it's like, okay, this dungeon would be way creepier with like 10 times the flickering torches. But the technology just couldn't handle it.
Exactly. Every single light source eats up processing power, and that impacts how realistic a game can look, how immersive it feels. Fewer lights, less realism.
It's tough to create a truly believable atmosphere that way, right?
Exactly. And that's where MegaLights comes in and has everyone so excited. This tech is promising to blow past those old limitations, allowing for way more high-quality light sources all running at the same time.
We're talking potentially a huge jump in how good games can look.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine getting close to that visual fidelity you see in CGI movies, but it's all happening live in your game.
That's the dream, right? And it's not just about quantity either.
Right.
Remember how we used to hear game devs talking about textured area lights? It was one of those things that was only possible in those pre-rendered cutscenes, not in the actual gameplay.
Because it was so demanding.
Exactly. But in the Unreal Engine 5.5 live stream, they actually demoed this, working in real time thanks to MegaLights.
Which is huge. Because textured area lights, they just add this whole other level of realism. Think about the difference between like a bare light bulb versus one with a lampshade. That shade, it scatters the light, creates those softer shadows, right? Textured area lights, they do that same thing, but in the game engine.
Making the lighting way more natural and believable.
Exactly.
And to show off what this can do, they showed off this marketplace scene in the live stream. And I mean, it was packed with lights. You had shop signs, individual lamps, string lights, even these little flickering candles. And they were all casting shadows. They even had animated drones flying around with headlights. I mean, the sheer number of lights was incredible.
It's amazing how much those little details make a scene come alive.
Oh, totally.
Like suddenly you're not just looking at objects, you're looking at a place that feels lived in, detailed, believable. And here's the real kicker. Every one of those lights, dynamic. They can move, they change, the shadows shift over time.
It's like the difference between a still photo and actually being there in person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our world is full of moving light sources, right? So this is a big step towards creating those truly believable environments in games.
And it's not just those pinpoint lights or spotlights either. MegaLights also works with area lights, which have a much wider, more natural effect. It's like the difference between, say, you've got a single spotlight on a stage versus the overall lighting you get from a big fluorescent panel, right?
Yeah.
The panel's gonna light up this huge area, totally changes the mood.
Exactly. And the cool thing is with MegaLights, devs can use those area lights to get both those really sharp defined shadows, but also that softer, more diffused look.
Oh, interesting.
It all depends on what kind of vibe they're going for. There's
Yeah.
some crazy control over the atmosphere.
Okay, so get ready for this, because this is the part that blew my mind. The whole demo they were showing off, running live on a PlayStation 5.
See, that's the detail that gets me so pumped about where games are going.
Right.
If we're seeing this kind of quality on the current generation of hardware.
Man, imagine what the future holds when devs really start pushing this tech. This could be massive. And, you know, MegaLights, it's still experimental. It's in Unreal Engine 5.5, but still, you can see the potential. What do you think, what kind of games, for folks listening at home, would this really change? For me, I'm thinking stealth games. Forget about it.
Oh, absolutely.
Stealth games would never be the same.
Imagine, like, you're using the MegaLights to your advantage, right?
Yeah.
Dozens of torches, all flickering, casting those dynamic shadows. You could use it to hide your movements.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Or maybe, boom, sudden blackout disorients the enemies. The possibilities for gameplay are huge.
It's like they're giving devs this whole new toolbox to play around with.
Exactly.
I bet we see some uses of this we haven't even thought of.
Oh, for sure. And you know what else I'm excited for? Games that are all about atmosphere, like horror.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you've got flickering lights, creepy shadows, maybe even the light itself is something scary.
Ooh, I like that.
MegaLights could really crank up the tension.
And racing games.
Yes.
Racing through a city at night, and it looks real. You've got the street lights, headlights reflecting off the road. All that adds to the immersion.
Totally. And, it's not even just about the visuals, right? It's about how this tech makes games hit you in the feels. Devs can use MegaLights to pull you deeper in, make you feel the environment.
You're not just playing it, you're in it. And that actually brings up something kind of interesting, right? Because we've been geeking out over the tech here, but there's an artistic side to all this too. Do you think something like MegaLights, does it change how devs actually go about designing a game world?
Oh, 100%. Think about it. It's like giving an artist this whole new set of colors to work with.
Yeah.
Before they were limited, right? They had to make compromises.
Yeah.
But now they can get so much more creative with lighting.
So it's not just, oh, everything's brighter and shinier. It's like lighting becomes this deliberate artistic choice.
Totally. Another way to tell the story, set the mood, just like the music or the dialogue.
But like any powerful tool, you gotta use it right. Like I'm imagining if you go too crazy with it, it's almost like too much light kind of loses its impact, right?
Oh, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see, It's going to be a learning curve for developers, finding that sweet spot. You've got the technical power, but you need the artistic vision too.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
So for everyone listening, what games are you hoping get the MegaLights treatment? Let us know. Hit us up on social media. We want to hear your picks. But for now, got to switch off the virtual spotlights on this deep dive.
But hey, keep those imaginations running bright, right?
Yeah.
This is just the start for MegaLights, and I have a feeling this is going to be huge.
No doubt. This was awesome to dig into. Thanks for joining us on this illuminating, see what I did there, journey into the future of games. Until next time, keep exploring, keep playing, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.